Hey guys, Mark Rosetto here. I have got the amazing Kris Anderson from Queensland. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going? Are you cold enough? It's
Oh,
chilly, isn't
mate.
it?
It's Brisbane. It's cold. It's like what? It got down to 10 degrees. It's ridiculous.
As a Canadian, I heartily approve of this kind of weather. It's very good.
Very cool. Now, Kris, we're not here to talk about the weather. We are here to talk about the awards. You are a award-winning. What are you now in awards? What are you? What are you?
All kinds of stuff. I don't know. I
Master
enter.
of everything.
Okay, right. Yeah, so I've got a couple qualifications. So Master of Icon in New Zealand, NZIPP and AIPP, a fellow of the Societies of Photographers in the UK, which is neat.
Yeah.
Enter competitions all over the place. I'm lucky enough to get to judge competitions from around the place as well.
Yeah.
And I'm the director of judging for the Australian Photographic Prize as well. So many different hats when it comes to judging.
I've just got one. This is my icon
Oh,
masters.
look at that.
I
Look at
keep it
that.
close to
Oh.
me so I can feel good. Every now and then I look at it and hug it and just like, oh, yay, I'm an icon master.
It's
Uh,
nice though, isn't it? It's nice to get that recognition because you can't just get it. Like you have to get it
and
over a sustained period of time, which is, it's a good achievement. So congratulations. That's good.
congratulations to you too. It's very cool. So, why do we bother with entering awards? Like, as a photographer, we look after our clients, we service our clients, and we don't really need, who needs to enter awards? But there's a
Mhm.
lot of reasons why we should. Why do you enter all these awards all around the world, Chris?
Yeah, look, when I first started, it was so you could get the whole "I'm an award-winning photographer" thing, and
Yeah,
like there's a lot of awards. So
yeah,
there's very few photographers that probably aren't award-winning photographers.
yeah.
So it's become about so much more than that for me. Like um, there's a bunch of things that I've learned from entering awards. One is to get a thicker skin, actually, which is really important because
Yeah.
you it you do the work that you're really proud of, but when you put it up against other people, some of which are just leaders in the industry, you
Yeah.
kind of find out, hey, there are areas I need to improve. And so you get feedback about, things to work on. So it's good from that point of view.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is in order to prep my work and get it ready for awards, I've become so much more of a good photographer from doing that. Like when you get feedback in an awards thing about, hey, this is a way of making this image stronger, all of a sudden you're applying that to your day-to-day work even
Yeah.
more. When you're looking at which images should I submit, that process of curation is
Yeah.
very related to what you choose to show on social media, or if you're doing exhibitions, or being able to look at your work and try and narrow down the pieces that are strong, and then take those pieces and make them as get rid of the weaknesses and make them as strong as possible for competition. It's like I kind of set myself a target of doing, as well as I did last year in
Yeah.
awards. And it means that I'm always learning and I'm
Yeah.
always finding these things that I'm applying to my everyday work. And my everyday work has just gone through the roof because
Yeah.
of the things that I've learned entering awards.
Yeah. Can I go from a real practical point of view, from a
Mhm.
photography practical point of view? And I was talking to a photographer, Stacy Bucks from
Mhm.
the US, who's got 120,000 followers on Instagram, been around
Nice.
for only 4 years, amazing photographer. And we had this conversation about why bother with awards and
Mhm.
how do we shoot for it? And I guess from a photography point of view, I would always say with our family portraits and the wedding day, shoot for the client, shoot for what you
Yes.
need, shoot for what you need to create for that client. But sometime on the wedding day, sometime
Mhm.
during the family portraits, think outside the box. Do something that you've never done before. Do something super creative. Do something a little bit kind of risky. Do something that's going to push you creatively, A,
Mhm.
for the awards, but also just to be a better photographer. Because what I find, we were doing 500 family portraits a year. We were doing 200 newborns a year. Do you know how boring
Mhm.
it is photographing 200 babies the same way in the same poses every single year? It's like you need
And
to
that's making you
create.
money, right?
Yeah,
That's what people want to buy. So of course
yeah,
you're going to do it and you'll be really, really good at it. But then you do get into that rut of doing the same
yeah.
stuff all the time, right? So
It
yeah.
was all about being super creative and going, right, spend the last 5 to 10 minutes of every single shoot or on a wedding day, shoot what you need to do.
Hmm.
And then if you see something from a distance and you go, do you know what?
Hmm.
I reckon I could create this. And at the end of the day, if it worked, awesome. If it doesn't work,
Didn't
doesn't matter.
it doesn't
But
matter. Yeah.
if it worked, you're like, holy shit, that's amazing. It actually
Yep.
worked. Like my gold award shot from 2009, I did that.
Hmm.
I never shot like that before. And
It
it
was
was
just an
just like,
experiment, right?
you
Yeah.
know, and this one over here was just another one that I did. It's just a, it's just a, 6 month, 8 month old looking down at its foot. But I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
going to crop the crap out of that and I'm going to make it a really high contrasty black and white.
Yep.
And we've got something more unique. I could
Yeah.
have just gone with the photo shoot and just done the same shit that day and
Yep.
it would have been fine. But it's awards, it's about pushing yourself
Yeah.
creatively and seeing how far you can push the limits of your own photography, which will only make you a better photographer over time.
And I think there's something about having like awards because they're external to you. It's kind of like having, an exercise buddy, right? Like
Yeah.
it's an excuse to have to create. It's a
Oh,
deadline you have to
absolutely.
work to. And like I don't know about you, if I have a deadline, like everything circles around that deadline. I'm really motivated about that. And sometimes that means last minute, craziness as the deadline gets closer. But like without a
Absolutely.
deadline, I won't do the thing. Right.
Yeah.
So having knowing that I'm shooting stuff that might create work that will be good for awards, or if I'm shooting something for the awards, that deadline's really motivating. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely it's pushed me creatively. Um,
Yeah.
and there's kind of also something about being in that environment where you're hopefully providing really creative work and it's going into this pool of amazing
Yeah.
creative work. Like if you watch there all these lots of these awards are available to watch, on YouTube
Yeah.
on replay and stuff like that, and hopefully lots of the ones that are on you can watch live streamed as well. But the variety of work that's on show, the creativity that's there is incredible, and then
Same.
having judges talk about that work and critique image after image after image, and these are some of the best photographers, best judges on the planet gathered
Yeah.
together in this like steady stream of let's talk about images. Like it's
Yeah.
the entire environment, it's kind of intoxicating. So
Yes.
if like I know when I hadn't entered before, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's very nice. It's what people seem to do. I'm kind of a competition junkie right now, and
Yeah.
it's not about winning stuff now, although that's super nice when it happens.
Yeah.
It is about having that cadence of getting my work ready and getting it judged and pushing myself and seeing what other people are doing. And lots
Yeah.
of friends enter awards too. So, we're always
Big
kind of,
party.
well, we're critiquing each other's work and helping each other improve and also pushing each other
Yeah.
to, you know, come on, you can do better than that. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff's happened from time to time too. So just as I guess as a creative outlet, the structure that you get around awards is amazing, and it's worth trying. If it's not, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not for everyone, and that's okay. But it's definitely for me. It's definitely something I've gotten tons of value out of, and it's 100% made me a better photographer.
See, I do think it's for everyone. I I
Yeah,
I wholeheartedly think that why wouldn't you want to push yourself creatively? Not so much just putting your images up against other photographers from around the world. And I did have a very, 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 very famous photographer say, I don't want to enter awards because I don't want people to think that I don't shoot to that standard.
right.
That was their argument. But I do think the process that we've just spoken about of being
Mm,
uber creative and being able to take a 8 month old and go, how can I photograph this child in a way that's never been photographed before
right.
from that point of view? But where do we go with this? Talk to me a little bit about what you're doing with the Australian Photographic Prize, the Iris Awards in New Zealand, because we don't want to be here all day. Me and Kris, we could literally sit here all day and
We
talk
can
about
all
this.
day,
But
all
for the
day.
listeners and people watching this, let's just get to the point. Talk to me.
All right.
What are we
Well,
doing?
I guess I've got three hats that I'm wearing at the moment. Hat number one is I'm the director of judging for the Australian Photographic Prize, which is a fairly young competition. I think this is our fourth year,
Absolutely.
and we're based in Australia, but we're open to internationals as well.
Yep.
And for the Australian Photographic Prize, we've got 19 different categories. If you click on the little categories link, look at that, Mark. Amazing work. We've got
Yeah.
19 categories spanning so many different genres of photography. There's kind of the the portrait and landscape and all the really classic ones. There's some ones that we've brought back this year after having a bit of a rest, like travel and wedding. And there's some new categories that we're exploring this year, including phone and in-camera artistry, which is one of my favorite categories, and macro as
Oh,
well. So, there's a lot of different kind of regardless of the kind of photography you do, you're probably going to find that your work slots into this in one or two places. So with these categories, you can enter images. You enter digitally for the Australian Photographic Prize. And actually, we've only got another week and a half, I think, until entries close. So the Sunday, the 22nd of June is when our entries close.
yeah, well,
Um, and at that point, we go into a judging process. And this is where, kind of as the director of judging, my stuff really kicks in. So my job is to recruit judges, make sure they're trained, make sure that they know what they're doing. We have the most amazing judging software that we use. So we go through two rounds of judging, a preliminary round, and then a live judging round where we have five judges who are going to go through the top 30 images in each of those categories and judge them live. So the top 30 takes about 2 hours. There's a if you've not experienced this kind of judging before, there's a really interesting challenge system that means judges can kind of debate if they see different things in an image. And one of the coolest things with the Australian Photographic Prize is because it's all online, we recruited judges from all over the world. So we've got judges. Obviously, we have judges from Australia, and we have some fabulous judges in Australia. We got a really rich history of print judging and
yeah,
image judging. We've got judges from New Zealand, from the UK, Sweden, Italy, the US. Like we've gone everywhere to find people that are
yeah.
experts in their
We've
field.
scoured the earth.
We have scoured the earth, and it means that we're going to have, like, when you put your image in to be judged, like if you're a wedding photographer and you put a wedding image in, you're going to be judged by other wedding photographers that know what it's like to work with a couple on the day in that stress situation. If you're a newborn photographer, then other newborn photographers are going to be looking at this work because these all these categories have their own constraints where, our judges get it. And so they're
Yeah,
obviously giving scores, they're giving feedback, and at the end of the day, each of those categories has a winner, and then a division winner and an overall winner. We
yeah,
have for the Australian Photographic Prize, the Australian division and overall winners win stuff, which is great. The International Photographer of the Year wins $1,000 worth of stuff as well. So
yeah.
there's some prizes on offer. So like I'm incredibly energized, but mostly because I'm so excited about the set of judges that we have, and I know the quality of feedback and judging we'll be giving people is going to be through the roof. So that's that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing I've just found the judges post of everybody who's judging on here. And this is the thing with this competition in particular. You've got people from all around the world
Mm.
who are going to be judging all these different categories. But one of the main things is that the quality of judges that you're going to have to judge the appropriate category is wildly strong, which
It's
is
insane,
going
and
to be awesome.
like I'm sort of like giddy with excitement because there are photographers that I go, oh, their work is so good, and
Yeah.
I've been able to curate them into panels to work on things.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing this set of people together is very, very cool. So I
Awesome.
cannot wait to have them talk to the images.
Okay, so how do we enter? So for starters, let's just take one step. If you've never done this before and you don't really know what judges do and how we talk,
Mm.
what we look for, go on this link, which you can see on the top of the page here. I'll share it in the
Yep.
post as well. And you can watch the live stream of last year of that category so you know what type of images that
Mhm.
you can enter for that particular category. So you might not
Yep.
need to go out and shoot something. You might
Right.
already have the piece of gold
For sure.
on your camera, in your computer. You just need to upload it. And
Yep.
how do we enter? And I guess we press
So
the how to enter button here.
how to enter button. Yeah. So if you head to australianphotographicprize.com.au, then should be tons of instructions there on what the categories are, how you enter, and the entry process is pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
So you don't need to print anything, which for this one is very nice.
yeah,
And if you have questions, there's an Australian Photographic Prize community Facebook page. It's really helpful as well. So we've got, and like as the deadline's getting closer, we're getting more questions. So people
Yeah.
are asking questions in the community and emailing us with questions as well. So the entry process is pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah. And look at this. Like it's so I giggle because it's like it's so cheap to enter. Oh my
this is
gosh.
it's
When we used like because it's a digital competition, okay, so
mm,
you've got $30 per image to enter or 120 for five.
mhm.
And for five. We used to be like, oh, I don't know, it was at least 120 dollars per image. Then you had to print it, then you had to mat it, then you had to
Hmm.
post it. Just to enter four prints in the
Yep.
past to a competition was a minimum of $1,000 entry.
Right. And I
Just
can,
to enter
yeah.
four.
And I can remember spending that money. And that,
And
like that's a very different style of competition, I
yeah,
think. It's still one that I love. So yeah, I guess that cost barrier is a little bit lower here. And
yeah,
also, like back on that ordering page, you can see you can order images as entries, or you can order images with feedback.
yeah,
So optionally, you pay a little bit extra, and we have our judges provide you with written feedback for your entries,
yeah,
which
cool.
is, again, that's good if you're looking to enter elsewhere, or if you just kind of want to have some one-on-one feedback from a judge about your image is a really good thing. And like that's one of the things I like about this competition as well, is being able to give that direct feedback. And it's a really popular option for our entrants, so it's been going really well.
Well, from an educational point of view, it's awesome. Um,
Hmm.
just to switch tact before we go on.
Hmm.
One of the things that we do love, though, in terms of a photography business owner, is being an award-winning photographer.
For sure.
The
And
fact
having a
that,
title like this, like, imagine having that title of 2024. Like, so Frances Suter, good example, right?
look,
Back on
sorry,
that page that you were just on. She won right at the top, in the top
yeah,
left. She's also feeling the cold in Brisbane, but I
yeah,
guess it's snowing in her picture, so she can handle it. And
yeah,
having Australian Photographic Prize Print Photographer of the Year, which was last year when we had Prince, for example, that's a great title to use in your business. And if you go
yeah,
to click on the gallery of all 2024 winning images, like our category list is different this year, so we won't have exactly the same thing. But top left here, Amanda Wachowski, People Photographer of the Year. What a great label to put on your business.
yeah,
And like, you scroll through these, and you get a good idea of the kinds of entries that we see, and
yeah,
the quality of entries that we see as well, which is great. So these, I know, it's as a photographer selling my work to other people. Of course, you know who I am from the way I speak and how I talk on social media. You've seen my work on social media, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking saying, well, I'm going to spend some money with you because you don't know what you're going to get. We haven't made it yet. So having the kind of legitimacy of awards or titles like this behind you, it's kind of a way of saying, oh, someone else actually thinks this work is good too.
yeah,
So, from my point of view, and from the conversations I've had with clients, I know that they have extra confidence in me because of titles or awards that are behind me. So, from a business point of view, there is absolutely value in that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, if we want to find out more about the Australian Photographic Prize, where do we go?
First stop is australianphotographicprize.com.au, and there's links there to social media pages as well.
Yeah.
So that should have all the information that you need. And right now, as I said before, like we're fielding lots and lots of questions. So if you've got questions, then you can hit us up by email or on the community page as well.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Very cool. Are we going to go into stage two?
Yeah, let's go to stage two.
Yeah.
So I guess for the Australian Photographic Prize, I'm not a judge nor an entrant. But for the Iris Awards, that's kind of my hat changes a little bit. So the Iris Awards are run by the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photography,
Yeah.
and they're
A lot
open
more
for
time.
entries now as well.
Yeah.
So, and they closed on the 29th of June. Fantastic. The Iris Awards it's this hybrid print digital award, which is really neat. So you can
Yeah.
enter a mounted matted print, 40 by 50 centimeter, and there's a kind of a classic standard that print competitions often use. And Iris Awards also accepts digital entries too. So as a judge, we judge all the print entries, and then we have a 5-minute swap out, and we judge all the digital entries in the same category. So from an entrant point of view, there's quite a bit of flexibility there about how you put your entries in.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Is there a point to do both? I know the answer
Yeah.
to this, but is there a point to do both?
Look, I think so. For starters, the stuff we were talking about before about, being awarded and having titles coming your way. There are I know of people that have managed to snag two titles, like one at the Australian Photographic Prize and one in the Iris Awards. Now, from a business point of view, it's like, well, that wasn't luck, right? We know
Yeah,
what we're doing. Belinda Richards is a classic. I think she's won Pet Photographer of the Year three times in a row for the Australian Photographic Prize, and she's snagged out a bunch at the Iris Awards too. So there's sort of no question that she knows what she's doing when it comes to
absolutely.
these.
The other part too, the title changes because in the Australian Photographic Prize, you're an Australian award-winning photographer.
Mhm.
In the New Zealand Photographic Prize, you're an international award-winning
Well,
photographer. If you
actually, and
if you're judging, if you're depending on what country you're from.
there are three different kinds of titles for New Zealand. So they have,
Ooh,
like, if you're a New Zealand resident, then you could win, New Zealand Photographer of the Year in that category and that sort of
yeah,
thing. They, a couple of years ago, because of the old APAs going away,
yeah,
the Iris Awards, they really opened their doors for Australian photographers. So they have an Australian blah 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 of the year as well.
yeah,
So you could be the New Zealand Portrait Photographer of the Year or the Australian Portrait Photographer of the Year. And then I think there's international, an overall winner as well. So
yeah,
like for Kiwis and for Aussies, there are titles there to win, which is
yeah.
great. And they do support internationals as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's very cool. So, what I would say in terms of what I was alluding to before, yes, do both.
Mm.
If you've never done award system, anyone that's done the award system, you would understand the concept of I'm in my print cycle.
Yes. And it's usually winter, right? Because
You're,
that's the time where, a lot of people, their businesses are a bit slower. We're shooting fewer
yeah,
weddings in winter. So we got time to have this stuff.
yeah,
So, like, Mark, you and I well know that right now is the south of the equator print
yeah.
cycle.
It's
And then it swaps around for the northern hemisphere as well.
Yeah, it's the print cycle. So what you would do is have five, four, six, eight of your best shots from the year or the last 2 years if you haven't entered or even
Hmm.
longer. And you take those, let's just say four because it's easy. You take the four images, you enter them into Stradigraphic Prize, you enter them into the Iris
Are
Awards,
some words
you enter them into
to icon, and you enter them
SWPP
into
and
SWPP
Icon
and
Awards, and
yeah.
because you're in your print cycle. And what
Hmm.
you'll find is that you don't need to recreate
Oh, for sure.
four
Yep.
new images every time. You can use the same images throughout the different
Yep.
competitions. And
So, mm,
be
what I
warned
tend to
though,
do is
the
I've
judging is
got
different.
the judging. Well, it is different, but
It is, but it's not.
it is, but it's not. Like, and
Yeah,
actually, judging even in one competition can be different because this is not a you get 10 points for your composition and you get 10.
yeah,
Like, it's not like that. This is art. There is an
yeah,
amount of subjectivity to it, and that's one of the things that is. At the same time, it's frustrating and it's wonderful. Like, it should be not on rails and, oh, you get the same score every time you enter an image. There's an amount of it depends on the judges that are looking at it, and it depends on the situation that you're in. But it's art. It should be. It's about the way your work impacts someone. It's incredibly personal to judges. So that does happen. I last year at SWPP, I entered a few images that had done the rounds sort of in New Zealand, and I had some new stuff. And that new stuff now it's coming back into New Zealand. So like I
yeah.
find what I do is I'm always creating work, but every piece has its little tour. And when it has its world tour, then it's done. So it
I
goes
love
into
it.
Icon and SWPP and Iris. And like that's my world tour for images. Everyone
Yeah.
has their own, I suppose. But yeah.
And I just want to point out there was one particular photographer uh, in the UK who entered a picture of a granddad holding a baby,
Hmm.
Lizzie, and brand new photographer, just started out in the world of photography a few years ago, mentored and looked after from Callie Brown, one of her very
Hmm.
good friends, and
Hmm.
Lizzie is just a beautiful person, and she entered a print. And I judged it at an SWPP. And to be honest, I scored it just in the silvers, 81, 82. I was like, look, Seen it before, been there, done that, seen it before. It's a little, it needs a little bit of tweaking and work on it,
Hmm.
and that was fine. Anyway, she took the same print after tweaked and worked on it, sent it to the Icon Awards, and she
Hmm.
took out second place in the portrait category,
Yep.
actually beating Kelly because she took out third place.
Right.
It
Yep.
was an image that was you would say, I should share it if I can find it. It was a standard, nice, really emotive image. It wasn't too wildly creative. It was just shot in her normal, everyday
Hmm.
shoot. And I guess the encouragement for that, actually, I'm going to find it while I'm talking.
Okay.
I
You
guess,
find it.
I guess the encouragement for that is that you do not need to go all crazy, like wildly creative.
No, you
What am
can
I
have
trying to
subtle,
say?
authentic work as well, right? Like it's not just about having Photoshop masterpieces. Like the image that won overall SWPP image last year, it was an authentic black and white soulful portrait that um just it felt amazing. So yeah, you don't have to do that. So, well, that work is appreciated too, right?
Yeah.
And that getting feedback thing. So Lizzie got that feedback from you and from other judges and went on. I had an image that I entered in Iris last year, and it was in the documentary or photojournalism category, and it went all right. And there was feedback during the judging because it went through a challenge process. So like two or three judges spoke about it, and I took the feedback on board and changed that image to enter in SWPP, and it won the photojournalism photographer of the year. So, like getting that feedback and using it to change your work, it does have an impact and it makes a big difference. It sounds like Lizzie really benefited from that as well. And it's so good to see her doing well at Icon.
Oh, absolutely. She absolutely smashed it out of the ballpark, and I can't find this photo to save myself.
I have to find a
Um,
link and stick it in the notes. So
yeah, I might stick it in the notes. I'll look at the Icon Awards because I can definitely find it through that way. But it was one of those things. It's like you don't know unless you try. I guess that's what I
yeah,
was trying to say. You don't know unless you try. So the best thing that you could do, here it is have a go
yep,
because Lizzie had a go. This is her shot here. It's a beautiful
excellent.
shot. And this is why
Yeah,
I was like, but for me personally, after photographing years of newborns and families and stuff, I was like, yeah, it's nice. There's nothing wrong with it. But I tell you what, it really resonated with a lot of other
yep,
judges and people. And this is where she nailed it and she's fixed it up a little bit. And it's just a beautiful,
just make some
simple
changes.
image.
So one of the really excellent things about last year's Australian Photographic Prize, when you flick through that kind of winners gallery, there's a whole bunch of names that are new. And when I say new, I mean new to kind of the awards scene. So people like Brian Elwood, who won with this amazing aerial shot, and Amanda Wachewski. I'll say right there, it's at the top left of your screen. Go a little bit further, keep going. Yeah, that's the one. So,
Yeah.
Brian, I don't think he'd entered at club level before, but he'd not entered sort of
Yeah. It's
a larger competition like this. And this image it just screamed at judges. It was amazing.
yeah.
So like he's a newish name on the scene. Amanda Wachewski had that portrait. So scroll up a little bit. I think it was up. Yes, scroll up, my friend. That's scrolling down. I
Is
hate
that,
to
oh
tell
yeah.
you.
My wife and
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
this
Good.
argument all the time about which
Okay.
way we're scrolling.
Oh, really? Excellent. Okay, so
Yeah.
there, that like that was Amanda's winning image, and it's like this is another one of those ones you don't have to have a Photoshop masterpiece, right? This
No.
is a soulful, honest, authentic portrait. Um, there are lots of you kind of get to know some of the people that do a lot of photo competition work, and then you have some new names just bursting out here, being amazing. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this year. I want to see more new names on here as well. Natalie Arbor, she had a black and white portrait that won one of the other portrait categories, and she's all of a sudden she's just winning competitions everywhere with just amazing soulful black and white work.
Yeah.
When so love seeing these names of people
I actually
bursting onto the scene
really
and making new work.
I actually
Sam
really
Carter's
like
one,
this. This is really, it took me a little while to work it out. And this is a very typical, very, very, very typical, like, why would you photograph this?
right? But look how it's been printed and handled. It's an
Yeah,
art piece now, and it's celebrating something that you
new
know
life.
and it's almost it's something that you would see as a family photographer and as a newborn photographer, but it's rarely celebrated in this way. Sam won International Family Photographer of the Year last year with this
Yeah.
image. So she's from New Zealand, which is
So
just excellent.
can we describe what for the people that are still looking at this, trying to work it out? What is it exactly, Chris?
You're not going to make me use medical terms. Okay, so this is the baby's belly button, not too
Yeah,
long. Yeah, so it's a pretty newborn
I don't
baby.
know what it's
So
called.
I don't like
It's
it's
that
the
little
umbilical
bit that comes
cord.
out of the belly button when the newborn baby's born, and it's
That's it.
whatever
And
that technical term is, it's that. And
and you know what? It's the thing that connected the baby and the mother together for so long.
yeah,
Like it's that there's so much narrative and
and
love
you
in
can
this. And
talk
then
about it going like it's a little heart.
it's a
It's
little heart. The judges
like,
last year talked about this. It looks like a heart. It looks like a flower.
yeah,
So there's from this. It's a really good example of an image. It's got a lot of impact.
yeah,
It has a narrative that you can see, but it's got something new. There's a novelty to it. There's an innovation to it. That
yeah,
yes, even though this is something you might see all the time, Sam's been smart enough to spot it and shoot it and
yeah,
treat it in a way that turns it into an art piece for something
yeah,
that's so simple. Look at Natalie's image there on the left.
yeah. I've seen
You
that.
know, she's just and actually all of her work is just gorgeous and
Phenomenal.
soulful like this. So this is, and actually awards, it's a really good way of connecting with other work you haven't seen.
Yeah,
So, if you're looking for inspiration, even if awards, it's not your bag from an entering point of view. And I know, Mark, it should be for everyone, but going through and looking at the images that have done well, it's definitely look at Heidi's there. Heidi won International Portrait Photographer of the Year,
yeah,
second from the left. Like, that image is just amazing. She's an Aussie living in the US.
yeah.
So, it's
Phenomenal.
the work. Oh, my heart's just bursting looking at some of these because they're so
Yeah,
amazing. So,
it's very
um,
cool.
if
I'm
you
moving.
haven't tried it, is the time to try it. Like you've got a week and a half until the Australian Photographic Prize closes. It
Yeah,
could be your own work. It could sorry, obviously it's your own work. It has
it's
to
your
be
own
your own
work.
work.
It has to be. Yeah.
It could be, don't,
Take those words
it could
back. Take
be,
those words back.
yeah, it could be
It's your own
client
work.
work. It's all your own work, please. It could be client work. It could be work that you're creating as a personal project. It could be
Yeah,
anything, but now's the time to have a look. And the Iris Awards, very similar. 29th is when it closes. So you've only got a couple of weeks for both of them to
yeah.
get your stuff together.
So
But it's totally worth it.
totally worth it. If you have questions, the best thing you could do is reach out to the Australian Photographic Prize, the Iris
Yep.
Awards, ask the questions, and just
Yes.
go. And even if I used to do the classic Mart thing, right? And I probably did it to you when I was entering awards. I would send 10 images to my closest photography friends and
Hmm.
with the email of, is this a good idea or a dumb idea? Like
That is the Mark
classic Mark,
classic. Yeah,
classic
that's
Mark.
it.
Good idea or dumb idea? Should I enter the awards this year? My answer will probably be yes.
Yes.
Which images? If you
Hmm.
are not sure, speak to Chris, speak to Photographic Prize, speak to other judges, speak to your community space of where you want to speak
Hmm.
to. If you're not sure, come speak to me, send me your
Hmm.
photos, and just go, Mark, these are my top 10.
Yep.
Which ones do you think will best work? Now, I will give you the non-sugar-coated response. You may
Hmm.
or may not like it at the same time, but it's also subjective as well.
Yep. Yep.
So either way, like, don't wait. Do it
Yeah.
now.
Now's the time. And do you know what? If you've never entered, the first time is probably the weirdest and the hardest. And then it's like, oh, I get how this works. And it makes it
Oh,
much easier next time around.
quick story with that. So,
Mhm.
and we'll finish with this because, like I said, we'll
Okay.
be for hours.
We talk for days.
Absolutely. So, when I worked with Excite and Jerry Jonas and Nick, right?
Hmm.
I just started, and Jerry was like, Mark, I need 8 images. What for? We're going to enter them in the awards. What awards? Just give me 8 images. Just pick your favorite 8. And I was like, all right, whatever, fine. Anyway, I entered 8. It was the AIPP Awards in Victoria.
In
I
Victoria.
got my
Yep.
first silver. I got an 81 with a little portrait of like a boxer with his little ears down, a boxer picture. And then
Yeah.
the 7 other images all scored between 77 and 79. And I was like,
Which is great professional practice, right?
great
So that's
professional
what you
practice.
want.
As a
So,
brand new
mhm.
photographer starting out, no worries.
Yep.
Anyway, I took those 8 awards in the print cycle, sent them
Yep.
straight to WPPI, and got 7 silvers and a gold straight away.
Very
It was
good. Very
so
good.
good. But you just have to put yourself out there as well.
Mm.
Do it.
I think so. It takes a bit of courage. It is worth it to give it a shot. So for those that haven't tried it, have a crack.
Have a crack. All right, we're going to finish with have a crack, people.
Have a crack.
Any questions,
Excellent.
reach out. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks, Kris.
Thanks, Mark. See you later,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.